going. It's kind of interesting to read them backwards. So, for example, if we take this one here, if we say I went, what? Yeah, that's it. We're just saying this is finished, which is not going to go on the board. Come on, you can do this. Finished. There you go. Right. Now the next one, of course, we've got this part here and this part here. Now let's look at this part first here. What does this in tell us? So we're saying it is unfinished. So here we're saying this part tells us it is unfinished, which I hope you can read that. And this part here tells us what? Tells us time, yes. So actually what we could do is we could make this a different colour, because this tells us time. And we could say this just means, and I'm going to say it means then. Because the past is a very big thing. I mean, we can talk about 2 minutes ago. So we can talk about then. So we're saying it was unfinished then. For example, while I was reading the newspaper, the phone rang. So reading of the newspaper was unfinished at that time then, when the phone rang and that finished. Then, of course, we've got this part here, which we can do in red. This bit here, what does it tell us, this perfect aspect?
Result.
Kinda. It tells us a bit more than that. It tells us, I mean, if we look at the red parts, or if we look at the red is generally what we call... No, it's what we call aspect. Now, in English, you've pretty much got two aspects, which we call perfect and continuous. But if we can make that in simple language, perfect would mean finished, which the board really doesn't like. And so perfect means finished, and continuous means unfinished. And then, of course, we've got the green. We've got kind of 2 times, which we can put in green. So this is time. And time, of course, we've got 2 times as well. We've got, then and now. And future, of course, is different. Future has many different aspects or different ideas in English, but we can go for time as then or now. And of course, you can mix these up. So you can say, for example, finished now, you can say, I've done it. Whereas if you want to say unfinished now, you can say, I'm doing it. Whereas if you want to say finished then, you say, I did it. Whereas if you want to say unfinished then, you say, I was doing it. Now, we can add a little bit more information into that. For example, we can say, okay, so this means finished. Which is a word that the board really doesn't like, which is a shame because it's an important one. No, thank you. And here, what does this tell us?
Past.
Okay, it tells us in the past, so it tells us then. Now, we need to put the two together and have just a little bit more of an idea of this when we put them together. And we'll say, finished maybe before then. So we'll put an idea of before it. So if we say, just for example, I went, that means finished. But if we say I had gone, that means before something else. So what we'll do is we'll perhaps say, finished before. Finished before then. And of course, the last one we can put together nice and easy because we've got, come on, here again we've got unfinished before then. Yeah, exactly. So unfinished before then. So I had been driving, and at that time, then in the past, it was unfinished, but I had been doing it for a long time before. And that's kind of, I think, perhaps a simpler way to read these verb forms. Now, normally that would look quite a lot nicer, but unfortunately the board's not really working with me. So, let's have a think about that quickly. Now, some of you may find, on the back of that piece of paper, you may find this. Okay? If you don't have it, it's no problem, because you just need one for your group. That's fine. Now, this goes with the question, and the question is, so the question is, what do you remember about? For example, you could have this one and say, your first bicycle. What do you remember about your first bicycle? I remember my first bicycle was red and yellow. And it was really, really big. It was much too big for me. and I fell off it all the time. And when I fell off it, I scratched my knees up, and my knees were permanently injured for like about 3 years. But slowly, as I grew, of course, the bike didn't grow, and the bike got too small for me. So eventually, I was riding the bike, and my legs were kind of out like this, and I looked like a clown. And eventually, one day, my parents decided we should probably get him a new bike, and they did. So you can give information about these things. So look together in your group. Can you ask some questions with your partners and say, what do you remember about this? Now, don't just give one piece of information and say, my bike was red and yellow, but give more information and see if you can try and use kind of a combination of, maybe not times, because we're talking about the past, but see if you can maybe use a combination of aspects and those things we talked about a moment ago. So, I'll give you 5 or 6 minutes. Now it's not going to work. There we go. Now, I'll give you 5 or 6 minutes to have a talk together. Okay, go for it. Applying to universities. Now, again, the board's not really helping me there, but applying. Applying means, yeah, you write your application, of course, and you send it, same as with a job. You can have a job application, university application, visa application if you want to go to a different country, and that just means you write and you say, this is what I want to do, please help me. So, yeah, it's probably better to say when I was applying to university. Cool. Alright, just very quickly, does anyone remember a teacher they either liked or hated? Alright, who wants to tell me about a teacher you hated? Hated teacher? Your history teacher?
Yeah.
Why did you hate your history teacher?
She was so boring.
Really? Okay, right, so she was really boring. Anyone had a teacher they loved?
Yes.
Yeah, go on then. Who was your teacher you
I
loved?
loved my English teacher.
Oh, really?
She
Okay.
was a really good woman.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. What about the first money you earned? Or are you all too young? You're all too young to earn money? Or? No? No?
When I won the competition, championship of big tennis, I earned 5,000 drams.
Oh, wow, okay. See, to me, 5,000 sounds like a huge amount of money. It sounds like very, very good money. I remember my first money I earned, my first real job was working in a restaurant as a waiter. And it was horrible, yeah, it was really, really bad. And I earned, for that, for 1 week, I earned about £80. And £80 is really not very much money. Okay, this was quite a long time ago, but £80 for like 50 hours work is really not very much money. Alright, what about an experience that was either frightening or embarrassing? Anyone got frightening first? Frightening?
Yes.
Yeah, go on, who was frightening?
We just, with friends, we decided to frighten our other friend in the house. And
This is why I don't like boys.
and as I was like the little one inside,
Yeah.
I just managed to hide in the in the in the wardrobe.
In the what?
In the wardrobe.
In a wardrobe, you hid in a wardrobe. Okay, yeah.
And, so when our friend came in, I just opened the doors and cried.
Boys, yeah. And what about embarrassing? Anyone got something embarrassing to tell us? You're going slightly red. Maybe give us something embarrassing to say?
It was very frightening and embarrassing when I and my sister and I tried to smoke.
Ah.
and I can't breathe.
Yeah, you couldn't breathe, yeah.
Oh, yes. And my sister was very frightened.
Yeah.
And she wanted to call my mother to ask what to do with me.
Oops, yeah, nice. I had a kind of similar experience when I tried smoking at school. I don't smoke. I really don't like smoking at all. But I tried at school, like everybody does, and it made me sick. And I was sick on my friend's shoes, which was kind of embarrassing. All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your fantastic English today. It was really, really beautiful to hear. Now, I do not know if we have another lesson together. I'm not sure. I don't know if you have another lesson on Friday, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's with me or not. So, if not, if I don't see you again, because this week is my last week, I will say you have been a lovely class. You've been really, really nice, and you've spoken some fantastic English. It's been really, really lovely. But I have to admit, some of the classes have been difficult, not with you, but with other classes, because people really don't want to speak English. But you've been lovely. You've been really, really nice. So it's been lovely to meet you. Now, when I met you three first, I gave you bookmarks, yeah? Right, okay. So just kind of to remember me by now, I'm going to give you all pens, because you've been such a lovely class. I've got some pens left. So my school has given me some pens, which you can use to your advantage, because my school's website is on the pen, and you can check out my school's website. If you're interested in coming to study with me in England, then you can check out our website. So thank you very much. Well done. Cool. Of course, if you come on, if I am teaching you on Friday, you don't get another pen. Alright?
Thank
And then you've got a pen and a bookmark.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone. There you go.
Yes.
So, thanks very much. I hope to see you on Friday. If I don't see you on Friday, you're a lovely class and have a lovely life. There you go. Right?
Thank you.